Hi, shalom, friends. You know, many are the quirks of mankind. One of them is the concept that I'm not good enough. Sometimes we see some very talented people, very competent actually, maybe even professional, and yet they're hesitant to undertake a project or to commit to fulfilling some type of a job. And the reason why they're hesitant is because they say, I'm sure you could find someone more competent or someone that could do it better. And that's why it has been said that the enemy of good is not bad. The enemy of good is excellent. You see, a good job is not good enough because it's not excellent. Everyone wants to be that outstanding minority, the exception to the rule. Who wants to be just merely competent and be part of the rule? And because of that, we don't do what we're capable of doing and what we should be doing, because we're imperfect. And that's why I want to share with you a thought, that actually perfection is only found in the realm of the Creator. So the Almighty God is perfect, and everything that He created, being that it is a creation, though it's created from the perfect Creator, it was created with an imperfection to emphasize the emphasize the separation between Creator and creation. Let me share with you a charming story and then bring it down to real life, day-to-day activities. The charming story is that there was once a king who was really beloved by his people. He was one of the rare individuals who was a king who was noble and majestic and really put the needs of his people before everything. And he was greatly admired. And one of his closest advisors was actually a friend, as much as you could be a friend of a king. And this advisor was with him through thick and thin, times of travail as well as time of goodness, and the king considered him closer than his closest brother. When it came the 25th anniversary of the king's rulership, the country decided to stage a spectacle to honor the king. Well, you know, the usual. There's dancing, and there's music, and there are the acrobats, and the animal shows, and then the warriors parading, and so on. But the highlight was not actually the entertainment, but it was the heartfelt wishes and praises that were sung by a select group of dignitaries. So one group represented aristocracy and said some magnificent things about the king. Another group was represented by the soldiers, and one outstanding soldier spoke about their allegiance and their loyalty to their king. And then there was a group that represented the farmers, and they thanked and acknowledged the king. The words were beautiful. And the last speaker was the bosom buddy of the king, the king's advisor. The venerable gentleman comes to the podium, so to speak. Everyone is waiting. What will he add to the beautiful, flowery praise that was offered before? He takes out a very impressive-looking paper, and he addresses the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I would like to say something very, very intimate and personal about our wonderful king. And of course, everyone is expecting perhaps an anecdote, an act of bravery, something that they could admire. And he opens up this very impressive document. There's only one line on it. And he says, "Our wonderful king has a crooked toe." And he ended. And the shock that was on everyone's face was apparent. Is he meshuggah, completely crazy? On the king's anniversary, surrounded by all of the glitter and glitz and the finest of the fine, all he could think of is to say that the king has a crooked toe. The king himself was like just taken aback, but immediately recovered his equilibrium and motioned to two guards that they should arrest this man. And this great celebration ended a bit on a very awkward note. People were whispering, what got into this man? Why did he do that? Why insult the king? If there's anyone that knew his greatness, it was certainly him. Of course, the king would not take this. And after the crowd dissipated, he went to visit his former friend and advisor in prison. And he said, why did you say what you said? Why insult me? And why insult me with something so frivolous as a crooked toe? He said, Your Majesty, everyone was singing your praises. This one spoke about your wisdom, but didn't mention your heart. This one spoke about your courage, but did not mention your sensitivity. This one mentioned your love of art and beauty, but did not mention that you're capable of mathematics. So each person that praised you in a certain way left out praise. So I decided that I would mention the one thing that you don't have. You don't have a straight toe. Everything else about you is perfect. The king enjoyed this response and freedom and thanked him for his lesson. So what does this story tell us? One of the things that it tells us is that look at yourself, your imperfection, as the reason for who you are. In other words, instead of concentrating only on our qualities, there are many people that are talented, many people that are gifted, plenty of people that have brains. What makes you outstanding is precisely the thing that you think you possess, which brings you down, which is less than perfect. Or to put it a little bit differently, it makes you unique. So whether it be the smile that might be dazzling, but it discloses a chipped tooth, or whether that beautiful complexion that has a mole, or whether it be a wonderful speaking voice that cracks when it goes too high, or whatever it might be, when you're mentally kicking yourself and saying, I blew it again, it's not the way I want it to be, or it's not the way it could be, that's exactly what makes you so special. Because in perfection, there's nothing actually to distinguish one from another. It has been pointed out that the difference between a portrait and a human being is the portrait is perfect. The human being is not. That's why the human being, of course, is alive. When we think about our spiritual life, this is really very important because we often demand the impossible. We want to make sure that our prayers are always filled with meaning. And we want to make sure that our study of Torah is always filled with passion. And our study and our celebration of the holidays is always the most joyous. And we always look and say, well, the other person's able to do it. I guess God is happy with that person. I'm not even going to try because I'm imperfect. And the reality is that it's your service to God with all of your imperfections that actually cause great divine and indeed cosmic delight. So let's continue to grow. Let's challenge ourselves, imperfections and all, to do the best we can. And that, my friends, is true perfection.